because we've been doing it, but silently, unrecognized, unaccounted for, and unappreciated. And I thought that we should come out and be visible. You've been hearing IYOM. I'll tell you what IYOM is. It's a big title, and it is reserved for women.
And we are all gathered for the national launch of the Nigerian Women Mediators Collaborative Initiative. Mediation is a dynamic, structured, interactive process where a neutral third party assists disputing parties in resolving conflict through the use of specialized communication and negotiation techniques. To avoid the recurrence of patterns of marginalization, oppression, and neglect that drive groups to conflict in the first place, an inclusive approach to conflict resolution is often considered key and is very critical. While we've made important gains in the implementation of United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325, former peace processes have lagged behind in effectively engaging and meaningfully involving women as members of the teams facilitating and leading peace processes. Much more needs to be done to further realize the optimal benefits of having women as mediators and in other substantive roles in peace processes. Research shows that between 1990 and 2017, women constituted only 2% of mediators, 8% of negotiators, and 5% of witnesses and signatories in all major peace processes. This shows us how grossly underrepresented women are as mediators. Current former peace processes often remain largely male-dominated, while women are simply seen as victims and are often not given enough space to engage effectively in peace processes. Though there has been marked improvement in inclusivity, however, challenges still exist that impede the involvement of women in peace processes. Some of these challenges include lack of access to formal processes by women mediators, or women mediation with experts, or lack of women with mediation expertise. Sometimes, women lack the capacity and experience in mediating conflicts, and this locks them out from opportunities to be involved in mediation efforts. There are insufficient trained women mediators in most African countries. Even where they exist, they are mostly involved at the grassroots and in local mediation efforts, but very absent in high-profile mediation or negotiations, and that accounts for the very low number of representation at the Track 1 level.
Provide operational and logistic backstop to mediation intervention undertaken by ECOWAS through the ECOWAS mediators. Organize mediation knowledge and build capacity for dialogue and mediation practitioners, not only at the regional level, but more importantly at the national and local levels, which we call Track 1, that is at the head of state level, and then Track 2, that's at the technical, which we call the think tank, and then the Track 3, which is at the communal level, which I know this, the NWMCI will play an important role.
Security Council 1325, we will be celebrating the 19th anniversary in a few weeks, and furthering implementation of Nigeria's second National Action Plan, but also as a response to the myriad of security challenges facing the country at national, state, and local levels. Collective efforts to strengthen women's early warning, preventative diplomacy, mediation, and conflict resolution roles at all levels is critical if we are to find lasting solutions to the peace and security and development challenges facing this country. Women must be leading and equipped to address the emerging and converging complex peace and security threats facing Nigeria. And I think this initiative really speaks to the need for fitness for women to be mediators, to be equipped in terms of addressing these emerging issues. As UN Women, we are supporting various interventions that align with the initiative's objectives at all levels. And these include advocacy with traditional leaders, to include women in community conflict resolution structures, support to community peace architectures, capacity building and skills enhancement of women leaders, and engagement with state peace-building bodies and entities. As such, we will work closely with the initiative both to leverage our previous efforts to identify and support community-level mediators, but also to ensure coherence with our current programming funded by the Norwegian Embassy that will support the formation of women's mediation networks at the state level. It is imperative that we set our sights on the inclusion and influence of women and women's voices in both formal and informal spaces, and I believe that speakers before me have pointed to this. The Mediators Collaborative Initiative presents the opportunity to leverage critical mass and collective advocacy to shift the current status of women's representation and participation in national and state-level early warning and peace architectures. Indeed, one clear lesson emerging from interventions and efforts to support women's participation and influence in mediation and other related efforts is that capacity building and related efforts are not enough. Whether at the level of intergovernmental and regional organizations, country and state levels, there is no lack of trained, committed, and experienced women mediators. More needs to be done to change, in particular, how formal early warning, preventative diplomacy, mediation, and peace processes are structured, designed, and structured. And in this vein, I think the earlier intervention by our